Apologies for that. Good evening and welcome to Ndizi at 9. It is the 24th day of November 2025, and hopefully you have had a great start of the week. I am Jacinta Nyabeta, and tonight we will be focusing on what has been happening in the country and trying to take a look at some of the stories that have been making headlines in the country and outside the country. And tonight, of course, we will be focusing on what President William Ruto has been up to today, and also the opposition leaders. And at the same time, many leaders have been talking about by-elections that are meant to happen later on this week. Those are some of the top stories that we will be highlighting tonight. Be sure to interact with us on our social media platforms at Ndizi TV Africa. Welcome and stay with us till the end. And we begin with President William Ruto today welcomed the Prime Minister of Malaysia, Anwar Ibrahim, and that is on an official visit to the Nairobi State House, stating that his presence is a confirmation of the alignment between Kenya's aspirations and Malaysia's experience at an opportune time. President Ruto also added that the signed agreements between both parties mark the beginning of extensive and strategic cooperation for both that will both benefit Kenya and Malaysia.
Your presence in Nairobi is a powerful affirmation that Kenya's ambition meets Malaysia's experience at exactly the right moment. As we rise, we draw inspiration from nations like yours that embraced bold ambition over limitation and chose excellence instead of mediocrity. Kenya now stands ready to take its place among nations that we started with, like your own nation. When I made a comment in Parliament last week that you were visiting our country, there was tremendous applause because we have been having a big conversation in Kenya about where we are and where we should be. And I am very proud that today we have you right here in Kenya, so that even as we have this conversation, we can bring it home with your presence here, that Malaysia, which was an agricultural country like Kenya 60 years ago, today has an economy 20 times larger than ours. Our discussions today, ladies and gentlemen, reinforced our long-standing friendship while charting an ambitious future together. We agreed to elevate our bilateral architecture by upgrading to a strategic bilateral partnership, ensuring that our cooperation advances with purpose and structure. We reaffirmed our commitment to removing tariff and non-tariff barriers, expanding Kenyan exports to Malaysia and vice versa, and deepening cooperation in digital technology and high-tech manufacturing. In this regard, I welcome Your Excellency's agreement to eliminate tariffs on agricultural produce and beef, a significant step that will open new market opportunities for Kenyan farmers and strengthen the commercial foundation of our partnership. The removal of these tariffs, Mr. Prime Minister, is especially significant given the structure of our current trade, where Kenya's main exports to Malaysia include tea, coffee, flowers, avocados.
And still on the same, Malaysia Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim also praised Kenya's role in Africa's development, expressing his happiness to be in the country and his strong confidence that Kenya will emerge as one of the shining stars in Africa. This is what he has to say.
Thank you, President Ruto. And Kenya is a great country for hosting us and my delegation. I'm particularly delighted to be here. It's a great country, great history of struggle. And we have seen under your stewardship the determination to propel not only the economy but the infrastructure and to ensure that Kenya emerge as a great nation. I mean, you have been extremely humble in your remarks. I've seen the potential. I've seen the enormous strides you have made in the housing sector, for example, which is most commendable. I don't think many countries, including Malaysia, has embarked that fast and that effective because your passion to provide housing for the people, particularly the poor from Kenya. We have decided, both of us at least and the government, to enhance the bilateral relations into a strategic partnership which would cover all fields of endeavor. And the traditional agriculture, import, but also in new technology. You are also very concerned on the issue in energy transition and digital transformation, including semiconductors, data center, and AI. And I think we can share our experience and yours through university collaboration, through research, and through various forms of investments. And I think there's absolutely no reason why a country like Kenya with such enormous potential and Malaysia cannot effectively collaborate and benefit from each other's strength. We have been, both have been ex-colony of the West, and it's time that we emerge as a forceful voice, but beginning with, of course, the management of our own country, our economy.
And now moving on, the push for political change in Nyanza region has intensified after Finance Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi and accompanied by the Energy Cabinet Secretary Opiyo Wandayi and Uriri Member of Parliament Mark Nyamita asked the Luo community to support President William Ruto. They also claimed that the cooperation with the current government would guarantee the region more development and projects and greater economic opportunities ahead of the 2027 elections, as Lennox Odede now reports.
The Cabinet Secretary for Finance and Economic Planning, John Mbadi, has called on the Luo community to rally behind President William Ruto in order to benefit from ongoing development projects. Speaking in Rapogi, Uriri constituency during an economic empowerment program, Mbadi stated that Luo community should be at the forefront in supporting the broad-based government led by President William Ruto, noting that development projects have been distributed equally across the country.
Our people and give them direction where to go for the betterment of this country. This country is for all of us. This country needs peace. This country needs progress, and it needs development. We must talk to our people and tell them that the government of today has remembered all corners of the country. The government of today is not a government of only one section of this country. We are developing the country uniformly. That is why today I'm here and I'm discussing development with the people of Uriri.
These sentiments were echoed by the Cabinet Secretary for Energy, Opiyo Wandayi, who also attended the event. He emphasized that the Luo community should stop hesitating and instead commit to supporting President William Ruto even beyond 2027.
Foolish enough to start looking for another government. Oh, come on. It is only reasonable and logical that we support the government that we find ourselves in and make it strong and go further and support the president to get his second term with our votes. Oh, come on.
On his part, Uriri MP Mark Nyamita stressed that the Luo community will no longer involve itself in street demonstration but will instead support President William Ruto.
Katika serikali hii ya broad-based sisi hatutoki. Sisi hatutoki. Sisi hatutoki. Sisi hatufanyi nini? Tunakaa na Rais William Ruto mpaka 2032. Na kwa sababu sisi tutamuunga mkono vizuri 2032, tutamwambia yeye pia tuunge sisi mkono. Kwa hivyo sisi wote kura yetu itakuwa kwa kikapu moja ya Rais William Ruto. Wale ambao wanasema tuende maandamano, Sisi tunasema washindwe. Wangapi wanasema sisi haturudi kwa barabara tena? Sisi haturudi kule kwa barabara kwa mambo ya maandamano. Kwa hivyo Rais William Ruto, tunashukuru kwa mawaziri ambao umetupatia na kwa ile miradi ambayo umeanza. Tunakukaribisha kuja hapa mara nyingi.
He further called on the youth to register in large numbers as voters and be ready to participate actively in the upcoming general elections.
Vijana ambao hawajachukua kipande, vijana ambao hawajachukua kura, tunawahitaji tafadhali mchukue kura. Ndio ile idadi yetu wakati tutakuwa tumemaliza 2027. Wakati rais anakaa chini, anaangalia idadi ya kutoka sehemu hii ya Nyanza na anatupatia zile vitu.
Lennox Odede reporting for Ndizi TV Africa from Migori County.
And thank you, our reporter Lennox Odede, for that report. Now, Jubilee Party Deputy Party Leader and former Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i has called on the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission officials and all Kenyans to uphold peace and adhere to the law during these upcoming by-elections. He emphasized the importance of orderly conduct, reminding the public that the electoral process must proceed within legal frameworks as no one is above the law.
I keep going back to this point, and I would like to speak about this very, very cautiously. When things go south, they begin from very small gaps and small violations, where, for example, public officers and so on begin operating as though the law does not apply to them. And then slowly, you discover that you are courting disaster. There's something I'd like to say today here, and then I think I'll take the lines of the fact that I'm now in political participation so I can say it. Every time you talk to people in this country, the anger and pain down below is very, very, very deep. Very deep. People are very, very angry. The population is very angry, very frustrated, and with all these issues, including overtaxation, including some of the taxation measures that we have taken that are punitive, when you look at workers across the country are paying. The pay slip has been raided left, right, and center. So economic challenges are there for sure. Then add to that the unemployment issue. Then add to that we have huge numbers of our young people are unemployed who are out there and so on. If we engage in rhetoric that could inflame passions, we could very easily drive this country into chaos. Very easily. Very, very easily. So that's why I've been making this point everywhere I go. We all have to respect the law. We all have to have a responsibility to keeping law and order. And the leaders in government need to know that that is not for those in the opposition alone. It is for them too. Because the moment you start showing that level of discrimination that the law does not apply to others, you have begun the journey of courting disaster and you have begun, a downward spiral.
And still on the same matter, the former Cabinet Secretary also urged leaders and Kenyans and also political leaders to remain vigilant against any voter bribery, intimidation and electoral violence ahead of the 2027 elections. Let's take a look.
By-elections and an electoral action such as is going on in the country is that one moment when all of us have to be very careful. Now, that is not the job of the politicians alone or the actors. IBC is critical in this matter. And how IBC conducts itself and conducts the election is fundamental. So if IBC is going to look the other way around and allow voter bribery, blatant voter bribery that is going on by government, allow violence, such as we have seen, such as happened in Kabuchai, against the George Natembea, and so on, we are courting disaster. And when I heard yesterday that the police are saying that Natembea stage managed that act, it's very shameful. I mean, I don't want to use negative terms, but it's very shameful to hear that kind of thing. I keep saying this every day, and all of you are smart people, guys. There's nobody in this world called opposition. All of us have names. And secondly, I've been a minister before. Government does not make allegations. Government acts. I can't make allegations as a cabinet minister or as a senior police officer. I can't say, I suspect she is organizing. No, I arrest you. and take you before a competent court of law and say, my evidence is A, B, C, D, it's upon you to prove that I'm wrong. If indeed the police or government are convinced that what happened in Kabuchai was a stage-managed affair, who has stopped them from arresting those who are involved in that stage-managed affair? Arrest them. So I'm asking that we pay serious attention to this issue of election violence, abuse of the law, voter bribery, moving goons and, criminals from one area of jurisdiction to another area of jurisdiction, threatening citizens, trying to intimidate people against how they should vote, and so on and so forth.
And also about Matiang'i, speaking from his home in Nyansiongo, Nyamira County earlier today, Fred Matiang'i also pledged to tackle various pressing issues if elected as president come 2027. He highlighted some of the urgent needs to address poor governance, enhance education system, and improve healthcare services in the country. Matiang'i emphasized that the current administration must ensure that government systems function efficiently, where he also underscored that what Kenyans truly seek is leadership that is both accountable and responsive.
Our foremost challenge that we need to deal with is proper and effective management of the country. Half of our challenges have nothing to do with money or budget. It is just simply just bad management. It's called responsible government. What Kenya needs is responsible and responsive government. If people raise the issues every year and every other day about one or two things and so on, and then we don't address them, that is really where the challenge is. We make mistakes. So if a mistake has been made, we come up and own up, step up and explain things in a manner that is respectful of the public. Secondly, the challenges we have right now in the education sector, you know them. I am personally outraged, I have to be honest with you, that we have reduced capitation to a point where clearly, it's not going to be affordable for people to go, for parents to keep their kids in school. We may have a dropout rates of between 25 and 30% in January. Because you see, first of all, we are African families. We do not have we are not a one-child society. Now, these wonderful people around here, if you have 2 or 3 kids, they're supposed to cough 9,000 per kid, 27,000. Where is that money going to come from? So it's to fix that, and how to fix it is to deal with wastage and mop up resources in the public sector that are actually going the wrong direction that could be used to do better. All this money that the government is bribing people around here, taking them to queue and bribing them around about empowerment and so on, all that is money that ought to go to critical sectors of the economy like education and so on. And among as many things I think about, look, this universal health care is what government strive to do. Whether that is going to come through reforms of the National Social Insurance Fund and the work we are doing in the World Bank in that trajectory, or it's going to come through a method, this sharp system, is a matter that needs to be debated. But clearly the approach the government has taken is not working.
And that story takes us on our first short break here on Ndizi at 9. Don't go too far. We still do have other stories in store for you, including youths being encouraged to go to institutes in order to gain hands-on skills because of the job market that is shifting in this era. Those and more stories coming right up after this short break. Don't go too far.
Every Wednesday night, join me for powerful stories and informative stories that will touch your heart and also will be informative on Ndizi TV Africa, where we will be having able and ambitious. Join us as we empower voices that need to be heard and also encourage the inclusive voices in the society, one story at a time. We educate, we inspire, we break barriers and remind the world that disability is not inability. Tune in to Ndizi TV Africa every Wednesday as from 8 p.m. as we celebrate and empower the able and ambitious in our society. Ndizi TV Africa, beyond Africa.
And welcome back to our bulletin. Thank you for staying with us. Now, the chairperson of the DCP party, Mr. Rigathi Gachagua, has told the media that his main political goal is to succeed and remove President William Ruto from power, while blaming President Ruto's government for various failures. Speaking in an interview with the media that is from the Ma community, Rigathi Gachagua claimed that President Ruto's administration has failed to deliver on its promises within its 3 years tenure in office, adding that citizens have lost faith in the government. Additionally, he criticized and asked Governor Patrick Ole Ntutu to respect the voting rights of Narok County residents, emphasizing that the people deserve to elect their leaders of their choice.
Katika Narok, katika Kajiado, katika Samburu, hakuna hata development hata moja amefanya. Sasa kwenda pale bunge kudanganya wa Kenya ati kuna mambo watafanya ati akipewa nafasi ati Kenya ikuwe kama Singapore. Kila mtu anajua ni uongo. Na ndio sisi hatushughuliki kwa sababu kama within 3 years hakuna kitu umefanya hata moja. Ile umefanya ni kuharibu na kuua watoto na kusema watoto wapigwe risasi kwa mguu. Hiyo ndio kazi pekee yake amefanya. Kuteka hao nyara. Watu ya Narok ndio wenye kuamua MCA hao ni nani. Wataamuka, wapige kura, ihesabiwe. Na nimwambia hiyo ni doto. Kusema ati Maskone hatatangazwa. Na watu ya Narok watalinda hiyo kura. Na kama Ntutu wanataka kuchoma Narok, ajaribu hiyo maneno wanataka kufanya. Wakenya hawataki mambo ya fujo. Wakenya wanataka wapewe nafasi, wachague ile mtu wanataka. Hii maneno ya fujo hawezi peleka taifa yetu.
And several permanent secretaries from different ministries have strongly defended the government's development record so far. Over 10 principal secretaries, led by Basic Education PS Julius Bitok, gathered in Kilgoris, Narok County today, assuring that no region will be neglected and that the current administration is delivering in its manifesto promises. Bitok emphasized significant progress in education sector, including the rollout of the competence-based curriculum, CBC, and the recruitment of new teachers to strengthen higher education institutions nationwide.
Mambo ya elimu yanaendelea vizuri. Na Mheshimiwa Rais amejitolea sana ili atengeneze maneno ya elimu katika taifa la Kenya. Ndiposa mnasikia pesa chungu nzima imewekwa. Tuko sasa 700 billion. Ruto alipochukua juzi ilikuwa 500 billion. Sasa we are at 700 billion budget every year. Na inaendelea kuongezeka.
Hata lita moja ya petroli ilikuwa zaidi ya 220 na kitu. Leo imeteremka mpaka 100 na karibu 80 na kitu. Hata kilo moja ya sukari ilikuwa 220. Leo iko karibu 180 na kitu. Generally yote tukiangalia tunaita inflation. Na hiyo inflation ilikuwa 9.6 October 2022, leo iko 4.6.
And the Kenyan youth are being encouraged to pursue technical and vocational training as demand for the practical skills rises in the job market, with traditional white-collar jobs declining and university fees increasing. More young people are enrolling in technical institutes to acquire hands-on industry expertise, while education experts also contend that the new competence-based curriculum focused on real-world training and skills clarification or certification is driving growth in Kenya's manufacturing and service sectors so far.
The future is digital. That's the reality. Companies are now going digital. They are now digitizing, their functions, their services. So when you get a skill, an IT skill, whether typing fast, whether a writing skill, an editing skill, any skill that is ICT based, that is something that will help you one way or another.
And the young people out there, maybe some have just finished high school, others have just graduated from different colleges, and they have not yet gotten a job because maybe they've been looking forward to get a job, to get employed, maybe in the government or in other institutions. I think this will be the best.
Na hawa vijana ambao wako hapa wanajifunza kutengeneza pesa through computer, through simu, na hiyo ndio masomo tunawapatia hapa Kiambu. Kwa hivyo tuna encourage, tunawasomesha kwa sababu dunia ya kesho, hata dunia ya sasa inategemea sana.
And that is where we wrap it up on Ndizi at 9, this 24th day of November 2025. Thank you for tuning in to Ndizi TV Africa. We do appreciate your viewership. I am Jacinta Nyabeta, and I wish you a good night. Bye-bye.